It's the Talk of the Desert with Melinda Reed.
I just love coming home at night. I turn around, she's a treasure. Everyone and everywhere I go, she's the talk of the desert.
Now, here's Melinda.
I am sitting here at the Barbara Sinatra Children's Center in Rancho Mirage, California, and I have the honor of Mrs. Frank Sinatra sitting next to me, and this is the eve of Frank Sinatra's 100th birthday, and I feel very honored to be here with you, Barbara.
Well,
thank you for joining me again. I'm going to cry, but
no,
I mean, the world has gone crazy over Frank Sinatra's 100th birthday.
I know, it's true.
What would he think about that?
Oh, he'd be thrilled.
Yes.
He loved being a showman. He loved performing. He never wanted to get off the stage. He just loved it. And you know, most people I know in the business really do. They love it.
They feed off the applause, and from that love and that energy they receive from the audience. So
yes, it just fills the room.
It does.
It's wonderful.
Well, I'm sorry I never got to see Frank perform live. I've seen lots of videos of him, but I wish I would have. But I think his energy and his love for the audience filled the room also.
It does.
Yeah.
Even if we walked into a Cracker Jack place, the people would stand up and applaud. And when I delivered his body here to be buried, people stood on each side of the road applauding. It was just, I was in tears by the time I got here.
I bet,
It just was fabulous.
Well, and especially here in the Coachella Valley, this is where he lived for so many years, and this is where he's buried, and this is where he wanted to be.
This is where he wanted to be.
He loved this area so much.
He didn't live here all the time.
No.
But he lived here. This is where he called home.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Well, we are here to celebrate the 28th annual Frank Sinatra Celebrity Golf Invitational.
Yes.
And you are hosting again for the 28th year.
Isn't that amazing?
That is absolutely amazing.
And I'm only 22.
Good comeback, Barbara. I'd also like to introduce Nelda Linsk, who has been your right and your left hand through all of this, but she's been producing the ladies' fashion show every year
since we started.
For 28 years.
And I say every year when I get up, aren't you tired of me, ladies? This is the 28th or 29th year. I said, aren't you tired of me?
And she tells me every day she's going to retire. And I said, you can't retire until I retire. You can't.
That's what she tells me.
And she's never going to retire,
No.
you know, so no. And next to beautiful Nelda is John Thornton, who's the director of the Barbara Sinatra Children's Center.
Executive director
of
the Children's Center.
Thank you.
And someone that we really rely on. He's fabulous.
Well, and
I'm not going to retire until these two retire.
I like your attitude.
But you feel like you really are making a difference here in the desert, don't you?
Oh.
This facility, this program is absolutely making a difference. I mean, 600 children come here every single year, 30 or 40 new patients a month, and they come here depressed and sad and traumatized, and they leave with the opportunity to be very healthy and happy adults. So what Barbara started 30 years ago is absolutely amazing.
Well, it is wonderful. And why don't you tell the story that Patty Crusoe told us today?
You mean the one about the little boy?
Little boy, yeah.
Well, one day Barbara and I were walking in the door. Every time I tell this story, I tear up. But we walked in, and there's usually a sofa here, and the little boy was sitting over here with his head down. And Barbara walked over to him, and he wouldn't put his head up. He kept his head down. And about 6 weeks later, she walks in, and he comes running over with his arms out. Now that tells you we make a difference.
That has to bring some tears to your eyes.
Absolutely.
We're making a difference.
Yeah.
We had our self-esteem graduation yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before?
This week. Yeah.
And the look on these girls' faces when they're walking.
And boys.
And the boys. We had boys too this year. It's just amazing the difference between when they come in and when they graduate.
I have been at some of the fashion shows for the graduation.
They blossom.
And the first time out, they're kind of shy. They don't look at anybody. Second time out, they've gained confidence from that first time.
Remember the little boy yesterday?
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
It is fabulous.
Well, and this time we had a little boy that was so cute. He went by Barbara and.
Hey, at least you know who to give the thumbs up to, right?
Yeah. No, but he could do it. But he did it right. He didn't make a mistake.
No, he didn't. It was
And
fabulous.
That was the message he was getting across.
Fantastic.
And he was, what, is
fantastic.
about 13 or 14?
Yeah.
Wonderful. But, you know,
Anyway, I just wanted to mention a few more. We have some big celebrities playing in the tournament.
okay.
We have Pat Boone, Bill Devane, and Azar is the one you said, I don't recognize that name. He's what?
He's a country western singer. Very
Country
nice,
western.
nice young man.
Well, no wonder Frank wouldn't let me listen to that kind of music. Anyway, Tom Dreesen is playing in it. Tom Dreesen, who worked with us on stage, well, with Frank.
Yes.
I say us, but
Well,
I'm there.
You're there, absolutely.
Yeah, but he works with us for 14 years, opened the show for Frank. And, you know, that's quite a stint.
Yes, absolutely. But he's probably the longest working comedian with Mr.
Yes.
Sinatra, wasn't he?
Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And he worked first in, I think it's Chicago. And he worked with a black entertainer, and he called themselves Black and White. And they worked as a duo.
It was Tim Reed.
Yes.
Was his, yes.
Yeah, Tom and Tim.
Yeah.
Tom and Tim.
Yeah.
And they were fabulous. Well, you know the story.
Well, I've interviewed Tom Dreesen a few times, but
Yeah.
because I adore him. But anyway, it's a great story.
It is a great story.
Yeah.
And Vince Ciccarello. Oh,
No,
not
Ferragamo.
It's Ferragamo.
I have another
Too
Vince.
many Italians.
Too many Vinces in my life. Vince Ciccarello is a friend and a buddy of both Frank's and mine. And then Vince Ferragamo is a football player. And these are all stars. And how do you like this for a name? I see you. Rollie Fingers.
Great baseball player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know of all of them. But we have, I can't go along without mentioning Joe
Montaigne.
I have too many Joes, too. And then also Charlie Passerell is a great tennis player.
Yes.
And ran the tournament out there for a long time. There he goes, the shadow.
Well, Joe Montaigne is your co-host this year.
Yes, he is.
And he's such a sweetheart.
And you know, he's played in every one of our tournaments
Isn't that fantastic?
since we started.
And he's actually a working actor.
Yes.
Yes. It's fantastic.
Yes, he has a very important show on. Unfortunately, it's very sad, but it's a good show.
It is, very much so.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked you one time, I don't remember who your co-host was at that year, why did you choose that person? And he said, because he's Italian.
And good
Well,
looking.
Joe Montaigne is good looking and Italian.
Yeah, all right, nothing
Does
wrong
he
with
cook?
that.
Does
What?
Joe cook? Every Italian man cooks, except for Jerry
my-
Vale.
Well, Jerry Vale didn't have to.
That's right, he had Rita.
Yeah, but you know, they all are just such giving,
Yes.
wonderful, warm, beautiful people.
Well, the 28th annual golf tournament is February 28th through the February 18th through the 20th this year for 2016 at Fantasy Springs Casino, Eagle Falls Golf Course. That's what I started to say, and I got my words mixed up. I've done that before.
Me too.
And we've got all these great celebrities who are going to come out and support you and the Barbara Sinatra Children's Center, and it's
And
fabulous.
support the children. That's the
right.
main thing. Is we all do it for the children.
That's right.
And they are number one in our life.
And what I really like is that all the money that's raised through the golf tournament and all of your other fundraisers during the year, it stays here locally.
And no child is ever turned away.
That's right.
And it's free for them.
Yes.
If they can't afford it, it's free.
Let's mention our fashion show.
Oh, well, yes, Nelda, since you are the chairman of the fashion show.
Nelda's great.
We have
I
a
know
great
that.
show lined up this year. We have Gray's on El Paseo are doing the show, and the owners are Marie and Kelly Gray, who started St. John Knits.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Marie started sewing knits in her own home, and they became so popular, she started selling to Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman's, and it got so big that they finally opened a factory in Irvine. And now they're doing their own design, and we're thrilled to have them. And they'll be there in attendance. And
They have wonderful ideas.
it's $125 a ticket, and
Yes.
it's great entertainment. It's a great way to entertain your friends, and that's on Friday.
Yes, and there's a reception beforehand,
Lunch.
and there's a lunch,
At lunch.
And the fashion show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you what's really nice is that a lot of us don't play golf. Now, I have all the things to play golf, but I don't play golf. I can look really good. Oh, I've got the golf bag here.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually, the golf bag was from the first tournament from 1989 that Frankie Randall passed away almost a year ago, and this was in his collection of golf bags, and I knew that Barbara would like to have this.
That's fabulous.
Fabulous.
That's
Isn't
so
it?
kind
the,
of you.
the first bag
first
from
bag,
the year.
yeah.
From the first year.
From our first tournament.
Yes.
And did you mention who's going to be performing?
No, why don't you mention that?
Are you? Are you?
Well, yeah, well, I was going to say is what's really nice is if you don't play golf, because there are different packages to be able to support the Children's Center from $100,000 to, I don't remember what the smallest amount was, but $3,500, I think, to play
That's
in the
for
golf.
the golf
For the
spot.
golf spots. But you can buy tickets to the parties. You can go to the Thursday night pairings party, and then Friday support the ladies' luncheon,
Right.
and then Friday night is another dinner.
And always entertainment.
And the Lettermen are this year on Friday
Yeah,
night,
right.
and they're fantastic. And then Saturday is the gala, and the gala is the Fifth Dimension.
Yes.
And I mean, you actually get a lot for
You get a lot for your buck.
money, and you can buy the individual tickets. If you can't come to all the different events, at least, and you don't play golf, at least you can buy what you
Sure.
can afford to, or what you can attend.
And we have some surprizes this year too.
We do,
so,
do
oh,
we,
yeah.
John? You're not going to tell anything
Well,
about
we have an
surprises?
auction.
Oh yeah, we absolutely have an auction, and that auction raises a lot of money for the children. So it's great. Nelda's done a great job of coming up with auction items, and Barbara seems to go into the closet and find something to Frank's, and that obviously goes for big money, but it's great.
Well, Frank
and
liked to paint,
some of his paintings, yeah.
Yeah.
and I
Yes.
gave some of his paintings him.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah.
And then some of those paintings were turned into ties.
Yes, and then also, I got like, what's it now? Who's performing for us tomorrow night?
Barry Manilow.
Oh, Barry
Barry
Manilow.
Manilow called and asked if he could have one of Frank's paintings. So I have one to present to him
Oh, how
on
beautiful.
stage tomorrow night.
Oh, that's
At the
fabulous.
McCallum.
Theater.
Oh, that's beautiful,
And you're
Barbara.
going to be there.
I'm going to be there. That's
I know.
right. I mean, the place to be on Frank Sinatra's 100th birthday
Right.
is where Mrs. Frank Sinatra is, and that's Barbara. So
So where
I'm going to
he
be there.
was and is still.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, he's here with us.
He'll be there
absolutely.
with us,
That's
yes.
right. Yeah. Now, can you believe that Frank would be 100 years old tomorrow?
I never believed he was ever going to. He always said that he was going to reach 100 so he could do a special party. And I never, ever believed him.
You mean that he wouldn't reach 100, or they wouldn't do the special party?
Oh, I knew he'd do the special party.
Yeah.
And he's having that party somewhere.
That's right.
Up
Yes,
there now.
yes. Gold-plated everything, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
He and Jerry Vale are having a good time up there.
That's right.
Oh, I got to tell you one story. I know we're late.
No, that's okay. We're fine.
But, I went to a party at the Hilton's, a Christmas party, I think it was. And they had a seer there who would tell you about your future. And I didn't want a seer. I don't believe in it and blah,
Right.
blah, blah. So anyway, they talked me into it. And I went there. And as she closed her commentary, she said, Barbara, Frank and Jerry have been friends of yours for a long time, and they're going to be there. And they were entombed up high. And so the two hummingbirds came into their tomb, and they were whirling all around them. And I said, look at that, Rita. And they were all around the two, and I said, they're with us now.
Absolutely.
And I really believe that.
Well, for you, everybody in the desert, to join the party, the Frank Sinatra Celebrity Golf Tournament, playing golf or for one of these great events, and it's like old home week because so many of these celebrities have been here so many times, and a lot of people who just attend because of the celebrities and to help support the Children's Center. The phone number is, it's very easy to remember, it's 1-800-FS, for Frank Sinatra, STARS, 1-800-FS-STARS, or you go to the website, which is franksinatragolf.org, and the Barbara Sinatra Children's Center is barbaraSinatraChildren'sCenter.org on the internet to find out more about the Children's Center. We'll be right back, and we'll go to the second half of the show, and you can tell me more great stories, Barbara. Okay, thank you.
She's a talk of the desert.
Don't touch that dial. Melinda and her guests will be right back. Now, let's get back to Melinda and the second half of the show.
Well, I hope you've had an enjoyable time with the Frank Sinatra Celebrity Golf show so far today, because I have crazy people on my set, but that's okay, because I have Barbara Sinatra, Mrs. Frank Sinatra, which, as I said...
Number one crazy.
Number one crazy. And I thought I was the number one crazy. And Nelda Linsk and John Thorson.
John Thorson.
And anyway, but we're going to talk about, you have other fundraisers during the year. And on February 12th, we've got a special fundraiser coming up.
It is special.
Yes.
Very special. We have a sports special luncheon every year, and we have top sports people. And so far, we've had two of them that you will remember. One of them being Willie Mays.
Yes, of course.
The first one. And then the next one is this one, is Hank Aaron. And everybody knows who they are.
Of course.
If you haven't lived under a rock somewhere, you know who they are.
Yes, but Hank Aaron is going to be interviewed on stage by
Bud Selig.
Yeah.
And Bud Selig also interviewed Willie Mays.
Willie Mays,
yes.
Former commissioner of baseball. Yeah, it's fabulous. And that's February 12th. It's at 11:30 at the Hyatt Regency Indian Wells
luncheon.
Resort. It's a luncheon. And phone number, because it's not the 1-800 number I gave earlier, but for luncheon tickets for this, it's 760-773-1636.
That's not what I have.
What do you have? 674-8447.
Your number is correct.
I'm correct.
Yeah, you're correct. That's the children's number. Children's
That's
Center.
crazy talking.
That goes right to Laura Rogers.
Okay.
Okay. But the tickets are $125, and I think that would be terrific to see this great baseball legend.
Yes.
Yeah, interviewed by the former commissioner of
And
baseball.
we have, how many people do we have coming?
We usually have 600, and we may break the record this year. We may get close to 700 people
Yeah.
for
Really.
it really is.
And Hank Gershowitz is the one.
Hal Gershowitz is,
I mean,
yeah,
Hal Gershowitz,
he's chaired it, but it's a great event. It's become an event, not just a luncheon. We've had the USC marching band. We have the Palm Desert boys baseball team, because they always win the championship every year. They come and they're there. They throw a bullpen before the luncheon out in the parking lot.
Not in the dining room,
No,
right?
not in the dining room. We always have a great singer. Sing the national anthem, and
Great
one of those
entertainment.
Well, it's an entertainment. Plus, you're sitting there having a 23-year career of Hank Aaron being the anecdotes of him and Bud Selig, who were very good friends. You know, Bud used to own the Milwaukee Brewers, and Hank started in Milwaukee. That's where the Braves were, and then they went to Atlanta. So Hank Aaron and Bud Selig have been friends for many, many years. It's going to be a very enjoyable afternoon.
And it sounds like it might be a very intimate interview if they know each
It
other
is
that well.
absolutely.
It is very intimate. Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be a great show.
And what are some of the fundraisers you do during the year, Barbara, for this owner?
Well, we do the fashion shows.
Yeah.
You had to ask me that. So
I threw you off, didn't I? Yes, because we're here to talk about the golf tournament.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, we do a lot of things to get the children involved. We have our graduations, and that's the fundraiser.
Christmas party.
Christmas parties and the Easter parties, and we paint the faces of the children and ourselves. And it's really fun.
It's fantastic, Barbara, what you have accomplished with the help of people like John, who is the executive
John
director.
has been major.
John, how long
May
have you
I
been
tell
with
you
us?
how I met John?
Yes, please.
I had fallen and hurt myself.
Oh, no.
And could hardly walk. And I was living in a hospital room. And so they brought the bed over to him in his place, where you were staying. Where?
No, I think they wheeled the hospital bed into her bedroom in her penthouse in Beverly Hills, and I knocked on the door. I had been called by a recruiter and said, "Would you come down and talk to Mrs. Sinatra about this opportunity?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I knock on the door, and her son Bob is there, and he says, "Okay, we're going to go back here." I had no idea where I was going. I walk back. I walk into her bedroom, and she's in bed, holding Sir Winston and petting him.
Yes, I love Sir Winston, yes.
And she said, "Just sit at the end of the bed." I said, "Okay." It was very hard to do because in this bedroom, I'm looking around and I'm seeing pictures of Barbara and Frank Sinatra with every pope, with every entertainer, with everything. It was tough to pay attention, and she was absolutely lovely hostess. And finally she said, "Well, I better take a nap now." And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Is there anything else I can say?" She said, "No, you've said enough."
And you got the job, didn't you?
Yeah, she called me the next day.
And he's been the best at what he does.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic.
He's just wonderful. Yeah, we're all very
you.
happy about it.
That's probably the most interesting job interview you'll ever have, huh?
It's the last job interview I have. Remember, I said I can't leave until they retire.
That's right, exactly. Well, let's go back to the golf tournament. Again, February 18th through the 20th at Eagle Falls Golf Course at Fantasy Springs Casino.
Yes.
I understand, Tom Dreesen said from the stage one year, he says it's the best golf course he's ever played on. Every blade of grass was in perfect position. I guess.
Yeah. I'm sure they kept it up like that because Paul Ryan, who
Yes.
really runs that,
The manager.
and then Grace,
Jay Chesterton.
Jay
Yes.
Chesterfield. They really work very hard with their people, and it's just great.
It's like Mary Martin says, we have 3 days of parties and we throw in some golf.
Or as Frank said, it's
Yes.
Frank's little party in the desert.
That's right,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Well, you can tell it's definitely a party here, even on this TV set here
Right.
at the Children's Center. Barbara, tell me a little bit more about Joe Mantegna and why you did select him as your co-host this year.
Well, first of all, he has shown up every single time to play in the tournament. And he has always brought people with him, and he's always handled it with great class and dignity. And he's been a great asset for the Children's Center and for himself, sure.
Of course.
And we have now a garden that John has gotten planted here, and our children go out and take care of the garden. They started cooking classes, and they take cooking lessons, boys and girls, and it's really wonderful.
Well, I was here when you opened up the garden a couple of years ago. That was a lovely ceremony and event, and I hope that it helps the children.
That was
Frankie
on
was
Frank's
here.
birthday. That was on
That
Frank's
was
birthday.
on Frank's birthday on
that's right.
on
It was.
December 12th.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
2 years ago on Frank's birthday. Would have
Yeah.
been his 98th.
Yeah, exactly. So,
It was very special.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's repeat the information again. The 28th annual Frank Sinatra Celebrity Golf Invitational is February 18th through the 20th at Eagle Falls Golf Course at Fantasy Springs Casino. The first event is the pairings party, which is Thursday night, and it starts at 5:30. And that's always just a lot of fun and good food. Are you going to let us in on what the food is on these different
Well,
events?
you know it's going to be Italian.
Well, I had to figure that.
Our cook is Italian, and he used to cook for Frank when he worked in Las Vegas. Freddie is his name.
Oh, really?
And he's fabulous, yeah.
Now, have you done your food tasting yet for the tournament?
No,
Oh.
not yet.
Yes.
Our food tasting.
Yes, we did. Well, we did a little bit.
Okay, and because so every night will be and it's some kind of an Italian dish or multiple dishes. So the pairings party's at 5:30 on Thursday the 18th. Do you know who the entertainment is yet for Thursday
Yes.
night?
The Letterman.
Letterman.
That's
That's
on
Friday
Friday
night.
night.
Oh, that's
That's
Friday.
Friday night.
Yes,
I
the
don't
Fifth
think we have
Dimension.
entertainment.
Thursday night is a little bit different. It's more of a little smaller, intimate party. We'll have some entertainment that's kind of background music, but it's really about having the players get to know each other and just have a little cocktail hour and hors
Who
d'oeuvres.
they were
It's
playing
fun.
with.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Friday's the first day of golf, and I think that starts at 8:30 in the morning.
We usually have a shotgun, yeah.
And then the ladies' fashion show, Nelda.
Yes.
Yes, which sounds very exciting.
Doors
with
open at
Bratzy.
12:30.
11:30, isn't it? Oh, for
11:30,
reception.
and the lunch is served at 12.
Well,
That's right.
This is
Yeah.
called the show of arguments. We get along great.
We do.
Anyway, we want to get the right information out. But the ladies' lunch is going to be fabulous.
And the tickets are $125.
And then there's the party on Friday night, which then the Letterman is the entertainment for that
Yes.
evening. And that starts at 5:30 also, and that's $125 per person. And then Saturday's the last day of golf, second day of golf, which again, shotgun start at 8:30 in the morning. And then the gala is at, I believe, like 6 o'clock, or yeah, it's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
And and you've got the Fifth Dimension for the gala entertainment, which is fabulous.
And the auction.
It's wonderful.
Oh, and the auction. We can't forget the
Right.
auction.
Can't forget
Yes.
the auction.
There's a silent auction and there's a live
Right.
auction.
We can't forget one other thing.
Yes, please, John.
Sunday, after the golf tournament, we
Excuse me,
have
excuse
the
me,
great
excuse me.
open house here
field.
at the Children's Center. Barbara is usually here. She'll sign her book. We have a new Sinatra book that we'll be taking a donation for, and hopefully Barbara will sit there and sign a few. But
I will, and we're
It's-
getting this.
yeah, it's a great afternoon. We have wonderful docents here. It's just a nice morning. We have little refreshments, and we have kids running around, and people take a tour. It's a really nice way
Yeah,
to
it's
end
great.
up a great weekend.
It is. Well, I want to
And
thank
we have to mention Mary Martin and Brett Coor, Brett Coor's mother has been with me since the beginning, and she's been very helpful.
They run the golf tournament for
Right.
you. Yes, but you know, I've run out of time. John Thornton, the Executive Director of the Barbara Sinatra Children's Center, thank you for joining
Thank you, Melinda.
me. Yeah. And Nelda Lintz, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Frank Sinatra, Barbara Sinatra, thank you for joining me. And
I
thank
love
you
you.
for, I love you too, and thank you for all that you do here in the desert for
and
these
thank you
children.
for the golf bag, too.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, audience, for joining us.
For more information, email totdtv@questoffice.net and visit talkofthedesert.tv on the web.